again, I feel a hell of a lot older than I used to. I remember Levens and Edwards just passing the ball up and down the field. They were like 16, 17, 18 years old, and look at them now. I didn't mean it that way. Either way, it's been a long time. Hockey players are here. Good to see Ashley back. Nancy's back. It's a great crowd, and thank you for all coming out and supporting this. This is the 10th induction ceremony of the Hall of Fame. Without the Buccaneer Boosters, this wouldn't be possible. This was a dream that Scott Sugar had a long time ago. Scott, of course, at FM now is the AD. And he put this together, got a committee together. That committee stayed intact for a long, long time. And we really don't know their names because they're hermetically sealed. They're all secrets. So again, it's been a exciting time in sports in Oswego. A lot of memories in this room tonight. Lots of memories. I'm sure the stories will get bigger and better as the night goes on. A couple more beers. And so again, just to warn you all, I knew I was old tonight when I was going that way toward the bar, and I walked right at that mirror thinking it was the bar. Now don't tell me you haven't done that once in a while. Somebody here has done that other than me. Please, somebody. Again, welcome aboard, and again, I'm having a good time being your MC tonight. I'm nervous tonight. I don't know, I'm usually not nervous. You guys know I don't have a BA degree. I should have a BS degree. But either way, we're going to move forward, and I'd like to, again, without the Buck Boosters, this week, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Buck Booster President Sean Callan. Thank you, Paul.
Hope everybody has a great night. Looking forward to it. Appreciate everybody coming. Wanted to welcome everyone to the 10th annual Oswego High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony presented by the Oswego Buck Boosters. On behalf of the current Buck Booster board, congratulations to all of you that make up the 2018 class. As a parent of 3 children heavily involved in athletics, I know there are parents here tonight to share in the ceremony surrounding your accomplishments, and they certainly are big contributors, and we welcome them too. This is my first year as the Buck Booster president, so this is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak at this ceremony. I feel especially grateful as many of my very best friends are part of the 2 hockey teams that are getting inducted tonight.
Yeah, Callan.
Friends that over 20 years post-high school are very much part of my life today. Growing up, I think me and Brian Canale might have been the only 2 friends in our group that didn't play hockey. But we'll never forget the days on a driveway, street, pond, tennis court, or the roller barn. Oh, wait a minute. The roller barn was something different. But it seemed like almost every day we were playing some form of hockey. I'll remember those times forever. Whether it be a field, court, ice, or a pool, high school athletics form lifelong memories and friendships. They create a bond, a spirit, a togetherness that cannot be defeated. It's an amazing feeling when the athletes, coaches, student body, and our Oswego community all come together for athletics. It has the ability to bring us together like nothing else could. It does take an effort to try to pull all this together. That's the main focus of the Buck Boosters. We have a great group of people on our board. Some are in attendance here. Leo Babcock, Kelly Green, Julie Chetney. But we're trying to increase the level of support that we can provide to our student athletes, coaches, athletic director, and the Oswego City School District sports program. This event tonight, the Senior Awards Ceremony, OMS and OHS Athletes of the Month, Homecoming Weekend, Coach of the Year Award, and many requests for financial assistance by our coaches wouldn't be possible without the Buck Boosters. If you're not a member, I would ask that you might think of being one, to be part of the effort to bring Buck pride to a level it hasn't reached before. Thank you in advance for your support. Lastly, at the beginning of this year, our school district was able to secure a very critical piece that will guide our coaches, physical education teachers, and student athletes somewhere we feel very, very confident they can bring, very confident to bring our athletic program to the next level. We're very fortunate to have her back around the soccer and softball fields where she once played. Committed then and now to being a Buck. It's with great pleasure that I introduce our Director of Athletics, Rhonda Bullard. Enjoy the night.
Sean, thank you for the kind words and introduction. I am honored to be part of the 10th annual Oswego High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony. In Oswego, we are very proud of our athletic history and tradition. As a former Buccaneer athlete, having the opportunity to be standing before you as the Director of Physical Education and Athletics is truly a privilege. Some of you were my teammates, classmates, or those that I looked up to in order to follow in your footsteps. Your accomplishments on the field, court, ice, and pool are monumental and provide today's student athletes with something to strive for and emulate. With that being said, I would like to recognize the Oswego Hall of Famers from previous classes that are with us in the audience tonight. If you could also please stand and introduce yourself, and I'll come around with the microphone. So please, previous inductees, please stand.
Good. Jeep Lewis.
Changed my first name from Mr. to Bill to all you guys.
The women's soccer team, Nancy Nattardi.
Michelle Kessler, Steinhaus, and the women's soccer team.
Pete Sears, varsity hockey coach.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Thank you for being here to honor our inductees and continue our athletic traditions. I would also like to have a moment of silence to acknowledge those inductees and Buccaneer Booster board members that have passed on. Thank you. I would like to thank our superintendent, Dr. Dean Dui, and Board of Education members that are here tonight, Brian Chetney and Tom DeCastro, for being with us this evening. We appreciate your support. Thank you to the Oswego Country Club for allowing us to host this ceremony in your beautiful venue. I would also like to recognize the Oswego Buccaneer Sports Booster Organization. During the history of Oswego athletics, we have been very fortunate to have such an active and supportive booster club. Without their dedication and support, we would not have the foundational traditions and vision for growth that is needed to enhance our athletic programs. Now, if you could open your programs, as our athletic family suffered a terrible loss earlier this week. Michelle Wink, our beloved athletic trainer for 20 years, unexpectedly passed away on April 11th. Not only was she an athletic trainer, she was a mentor, a role model, a friend, and an incremental part of the community and school district. Her legacy will forever be embedded in the Oswego athletic family and school district. This quote by Maya Angelou encapsulates the impact Michelle has made. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. At this time, I'd like to call up Michelle's husband, Tim Wink.
For those of you that know me, my name is Wink. Michelle couldn't make it tonight, and I need to speak. Very quickly, I'd like to say that the community, the coaches, the families, the kids, and everybody else involved made her who she is. My wife was a beautiful person inside and out. And when I start crying, it's all good. She could not have been who she was without all of you. She sees people on the road and knew their names and the team and the injury. My wife very much loved you all. And I would like you to know that with that, the world's a better place. Okay? All you have to do is be involved with the world. The world's a beautiful place, please just be involved. And that's what my wife would ask. I came up here with no speech, and I just wanted to talk. And I see a lot of beautiful people up here that I remember and know, and Michelle loves you all.
Thank you. And now I'm going to go back to the Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Foley.
Thank you. I was still in trouble in calling Mr. Foley. Went to a Catholic school. When they said Mr. Foley, I knew I was in trouble. Many of you are familiar with nuns, you know what I mean. In regards to Michelle, and what I'll miss about Michelle is every time I saw her, she'd say, "Hey, Coach, how you doing, Coach?" And she always remembered my kids' injuries. And she allowed my son to play some very senior with a dislocated shoulder with something she created for the shoulder. And my daughter had some knee injuries as a cheerleader and helped her out. The smile is all I'll never forget about Michelle. Rest in peace, Michelle. Well, take a breath, take a sip, and we'll move on. This is hard for me, Nate, because in past years when I've done this, I go back to the first year when two of our folks here tonight, Sally Dowd or Sally McCroby, and Pete Sears were inducted into the first class. And that class was an elite class, and it set a standard that it had to live up to each and every year. If you go to the back of the program and look at all the members of this Hall of Fame, you'll be amazed at the success, the contributions, the dedication, the determination that all these people gave to the school district and this community. And again, it just keeps, the names just keep filling this with deserving, very deserving athletes and community representatives. And it shows you the talent that we had in this community and still have in this community. And just a little plug now, start thinking. I know you're sitting here saying, how come so-and-so isn't in the Hall of Fame? This comes up every year. How come so-and-so isn't in the Hall of Fame? The reason being, they weren't nominated. So, go on our webpage, on this page, there's information on applications. And please don't say, this person should be inducted. You can look up the information. It does happen, believe it or not. So again, rack your brains. If you think there's somebody deserving that should be in this Hall of Fame, nominate them. It's real easy to go back and look at records. Mike LaBeouf Has been doing the panel time stuff since the late 70s. It's a Bible of local sports. I was there before that. Shows how old I am. So again, if you think somebody should be please nominated, look on the webpage and think about it and tell your friends about it too. As I said, every class has been sensational thus far, and I can't see that letting down whatsoever. Our first inductee tonight, lettered in girls soccer and boys swimming. That may sound a little funny. When I was a sports writer back in 1976, I received nasty grams from people in the community because I covered women's sports. I actually would do a soccer game or a softball game or a basketball game back then. And I was told they didn't, the girls didn't deserve that publicity. They weren't athletes. Well, they were wrong, and I stuck with covering girls' sports, or female sports, or girls' sports, and you're still girls now, but you're also younger than me. And so I continued to do so. My wife went to Catholic High, signed a petition so she could play softball or play volleyball. It's amazing how far we've come, but sometimes we really haven't come that far. So again, Nancy, wanted to play soccer, wanted to swim. The only way she could swim was to be with the boys. And she set records. She played soccer sensationally. She led to some championship teams. She was the first female competitor in boys swimming, a sectional qualifier, a record holder in the backstroke and all the relays. And Michelle Steinhaus is going to come up with us a little bit more.
Thank you. And it is true when he says you have to write the letter. Thank you, Mike McCroby, for reminding me. Because I sat here last year as I got inducted with the soccer team, thinking that Nancy needs to be in. And so he reminded me, and we got this in, and this is awesome. So anyway, again, my name is Michelle Kessler Steinhaus, and I'd like to take you back in time and sort of discuss this and give you a little brief history of sports in Oswego High School. So in the late 60s, early 70s, there were no girls' tennis teams. So Jane Oppler, Linda Johnson, and Dina Kessler joined the boys' team so that they could play tennis in high school. Fast forward to 1972, and Nancy has the option of the girls' swim team, but chooses the boys' swim team for challenging competition that this would give her. In 1972, and we had some fun last night going through some books, we found out actually that she was not only a national qualifier for the YMCA, she also got fifth in the backstroke. But in 73, at the Y Nationals, her freshman year in high school, she won 3 national championships. She won the 100 and 200 backstroke, and also the 200 IM. And everybody at this table knows the 200 IM is an amazing accomplishment because her breaststroke was something to be seen. So, with Coach John Farrell, Jeff Germain, Donnie Down, and a few others to push her, Nancy was able to improve and excel in swimming. She was quoted in a 1974 article, which might have been yours, Bill, I'm not quite sure. I want to swim the 100 backstroke in under a minute, win a scholarship to college, possibly become a co-captain on my college swim team, and possibly go to the 1976 Olympics. She performed unbelievably well in pursuit of these goals. Nancy set the Oswego High School boys record in 100 backstroke in all the relays. She was not only TV5's Athlete of the Week, she was also Athlete of the Year in 1973. She earned a swimming scholarship to Indiana University and then to the University of South Carolina. At Indiana University, she was a Big Ten record holder, and then while at USC, she was an 18-time All-American with them. She was chosen team captain of her USC team the last few years of her college swimming. She qualified for the U.S. Olympic team in 1970, or to qualify for the U.S. trials in 76 and 1980. And we know in 1980 we didn't go, thanks to that, so who knows what she would have done. Meanwhile, as she was excelling in the pool, Nancy did get her undergrad degree in secondary education and later finished her coursework for a master's in education at Harvard University. After she graduated from USC, she went in to coach youth swimming in Dallas. Then she went to coach Dartmouth women's swimming. And she followed that and became the head water polo coach, just to change it up a little bit, and assistant swim coach at Harvard University. And then she went full circle, becoming the head coach, women's swimming coach at Indiana University for 6 years. For the last 18 years, Nancy has worked as a college counselor at a high school in Austin, Texas, with her primary responsibility in helping first-generation and underrepresented students pursue their college dreams. She didn't leave coaching altogether, though. For a change of pace, she has decided to coach high school golf for the last 12 years. And I laugh because she's saying she was hoping it would improve her game, but I'm not sure that it has. Not only does she coach golf now, but she's also a published author, leveraging her personal and coaching experience to write Get Paid to Play, a guidebook for student athletes that walks them through the college recruiting process. As I think back on my friendship with Nancy, I think of a person with a positive attitude that motivates you, fun-loving, compassionate, considerate, adventurous, and sincere. As kids growing up in Oswego, when we weren't swimming, we were always on our bikes riding around town, which I don't think they can do that as much anymore. Something new. I think Mike had a little article about that. Going to different friends' houses, Rose, and playing our favorite game, Kick the Can. Also stopping by Stones, which we did today, because you have to do that when you're in town. Getting some candy to help replenish those calories we used when we were in the pool. Nancy always pushed me to be a better swimmer, so the times that Nancy had gone away to Virginia to improve her swimming skills were hard ones for me, as I missed my biking and swimming buddy. She always was and still is an excellent athlete. She was not only an exceptional swimmer, but she also was a talented soccer player in high school. In fact, she was the leading scorer in 74 and 75 on our soccer team, and got into the Hall of Fame last year with that. We also played summer league soccer, or softball for fun, and we did win a few titles with that. She's an avid tennis player right now, golfer, and skier, and needless to say, Nancy likes to stay active. Finally, I know that some of her coaching qualities Nancy demonstrates today are ones she observed in her high school coaches. Characters like Coach John Farrell's detail for technique, and Coach Helen German's pushing you to do your best, and if you didn't, you were off the field. Just that way. I am proud to introduce you to Nancy Nattardi, my friend and 2018 High School Hall of Fame inductee. However, Ro needs to come up and read something from one of the other coaches. Come on up, Nancy. Nancy, come on.
Give Nancy a hand first.
Yeah, give Nancy a hand. Miss German cannot be here today, but she wrote a note she wanted me to read for everybody to hear. As I coach, this is her writing in, Miss German. I was very fortunate to have athletes who, oh my gosh, possessing that competitive drive to win and the willingness to come together as a team. You had the competitive drive, exceptional skills, and a team leader as well. Nancy, you have earned this honor being a member of the High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Helen German. And quit frogging around.
Hi there, I'm Robert Bosey, and I swam with Nancy since she started, for sure. I have a little note from one of her coaches, my dad. Oh, geez. I know, Mario Robosi. He's 88. Dear first coach, dear Nancy, your induction into the OHS Athletic Hall of Fame honors you for many accomplishments in your life. You built your career in the field of athletics with honor, hard work, and with interest for the youngsters and young adults to follow suit. When you were young, I had the honor of being part of the coaching crew at the Y. I'm proud of that time as our swimmers became well known in the area, then in the country and Canada, and in college. You also keep things fun while swimming across the St. Lawrence River. I brag about you all and recall often, I'd hear, oh, Purple Power is here. That was our Y team. Nancy, you're high on my list of fifth daughters. I'm proud of you, from Coach Mario.
Thank you so much. I mean, what an honor this is. I would actually say, Sean, what you said. I mean, nothing beats college athletics, like nothing. I actually am at high school now, and I still love every bit of college athletics. It's a memory you'll have the rest of your life, and friends you'll have forever. So thank you so much. Also, I'd like to congratulate all the other nominees. I don't necessarily know you personally, but this is cool. Isn't this cool? It's cool. I have to give a shout out. Okay, I don't stand still, so sorry. But I have to give a shout out to all the moms that are here. How many moms are here? Any moms? My mom couldn't make it, but yay! Honestly, I would never have been an athlete if it wasn't for my mom. I mean, she's the one that drove us everywhere. Our car was a station wagon. It even had the 2 seats in the back, facing backwards. Not safe. But that was full. That car was full. Every time we went anywhere, she carpooled us everywhere. She also pushed me as an athlete. I came home and said, I beat Sharon Brown today. And she goes, did you tell her you're racing? I'm like, no, she knew I was racing. No, if you didn't tell her you're racing, you're not racing. I'm like, okay. So she pushed me to that, definitely in a way that I, didn't expect to be pushed. But definitely all the moms out there, thank you. She's also, my mom and dad, I have to say it's their athletic ability, not mine. They gave it to me. They're both in their 80s. They still play tennis and golf. My mom has 3 hole-in-ones. My dad has 1. It's genetic. I'm going to get one. Every part 3, I'm like, hole-in-one, come on. Someday I'll get it. But anyways, I definitely got to thank my parents for that. My dad was a coach at Oswego State. He coached basketball and baseball. And that's where I got all my coaching experience from, and he definitely inspired me. They inspired me today, but his ability to coach, he was always trying to improve his team. Didn't matter who's on the team, you're always trying to get better and get better. And that's how pretty much I've always coached. That's how I work today. I'm always trying to make everything better for my students all the time. So I definitely thank my parents and appreciate everything that they've done for me. And I'm pretty sure every athlete here is the same way. I'm appreciative of that. I also want to thank all my coaches. Mario Rebosi, her dad, was my first coach. Anybody here that's an athlete, you start whatever age nowadays. I was 9 when I started. I wasn't quite 5, but I was 9, and Mario was my first coach. He made it fun. That's why you stay in sport, because it's fun. He made it fun. We had a great time. I don't know. He said he just put me in the water and I took off, but whatever. He made it fun, and that really changed my life for swimming. Gil Smith was our next coach, and Gil Smith was our coach. I don't know, I guess Roseanne is the one that she got the purple car going. So Gil Smith really made Oswego Y and made everything about Oswego be on the map for swimming, for sure. So he took us there. We went to Y Nationals and Flushing and all over the place and did really well, so it was fun. My next coach was JT Farrell. He was our high school coach. I really appreciate all he did. He's not really, some people didn't appreciate all that he did, but I did because he was cutting edge. A lot of people didn't appreciate what he did, but anyways, but he helped me. I mean, he just was always trying, he didn't know swimming. He was not a swim coach, he was a soccer coach. He actually is the reason we were so good at soccer, because he told Miss German how to play. He's like, do a 4-3-3, don't do a 5-3-2, on the field. Anyway, so but John T. Farrell definitely impacted all of our lives, all of our swimming lives, and made a big difference. So I really appreciate all he did. And definitely Miss German, I mean, she made it fun. She was mad at you. She would tell you quit frying around, but she'd be smiling. So I kind of learned that from her. I guess I smile when I'm mad. Like, stop doing that. But anyways, Miss German was awesome. She taught us a lot. And I went and stopped saw her today, and she's so appreciative. But it was really fun. She knew every goal we scored. But if you know Miss German, go by and see her sometime. She's doing really well. Other than coaches, and the next thing I would say, friendships. The reason I swam, the reason I try to do everything is these people right over here. Sorry. Anyways, all my teammates that made it fun, and we were friends for life, and we got into a lot of trouble together, in and out of the pool. But anyways, I got Michelle Kessler, Steinhaus. She was my teammate, best friend, troublemaker. Rover Bosey, Carol Rose, Cindy Timberlake came in and surprised me. Don Dowd, who else? Anyone in stores? Sally Dowd. We all were just together all the time. We began swimming year-round together, which wasn't really done back then. But honestly, it's the friendships, and you probably know that. You stay in sports because of friendships. That's what makes a difference. But anyways, so just a couple things I wanted to say about high school that I remember, just a few. I don't remember classes. I'm sorry, I just really don't remember what I learned. I tell my high school teachers that I'm at right now, you think it's so important that you're trying to teach them Texas government, but guess what? They're not going to remember that. They're going to remember you. So, please be personal with them. But anyways, what I do remember is we were on an alternate day schedule when I was there, just the 4 years I think I was there. And somehow, senior year, I was done at 11:30 every day. I got to go home and watch soap operas and come back. And I graduated in December. And I don't know how I did that. And to this day, my friends in Austin said, hey, you better go get your transcript and make sure you graduated. I just don't know how I did it, but I did. But I graduated early that year. Then also, let's see, we had an open courtyard. Was anybody there when it was an open courtyard in the middle of the school? Okay, so it was just open. It was wide open, there were steps, and I guess we had a lot of time off because we were always hanging out in the open courtyard. It was kind of fun. And then, this is random, but there was a bunch of us that had these yellow, orange, and green checkered pants, and every Tuesday, I think there was about 8 of us that would wear them. Do you guys remember that? Somebody had, it's like a random, but we would all wear them, big old bell bottoms, they were huge. We would always wear those. I always had to walk. I lived up at the top of Sheldon Hill, and I swear that hill looks so small now, but it was really big back then. But we had to walk to school every day. And the only time my mom ever gave us a ride was after practice in the snowstorm. She might pick us up. But usually she said, get together, hold hands, and walk out, walk home. So, but walking up and down that hill. Oswego Sub Shop. Oh my gosh, we went and ate there today, which is great, but I think we remembered it for other reasons. And the phone booth that was there is gone. That was that phone booth you'd call home on the weekends. Come get me, Mom. But that was gone. And then right that park, I definitely remember it, but not for the baseball. Something about Strawberry Hill, but no. Anyways, so a few high school swimming memories that I have. The pool would have, I don't know if it still has bromine in it, but bromine is instead of chlorine, so it kind of smelled like bromine all the time. Does it have bromine now? Anybody? Because the problem is if you pee in that water, which many people do, it turns orange. So everybody knew you were peeing. It really did, it did, right? And then also it made my hair so shiny. It's already white as it is. It was always white, I guess. But I remember walking into a wrestling match, and people are like, oh my gosh, turn it off. It makes my hair so shiny. I remember bloodshot eyes. You're a swimmer and you ever swam without goggles on, your eyes get all bloodshot. Goggles were really coming just brand new back then, but I don't think they fit our eyes right. Because I absolutely went home and I'd be sitting at dinner crying and I'm like, Mom, it's not the dinner, I promise you. No, it's like from swimming with goggles that were leaking all the time. Morning workouts, that was right around the time in the 70s where all of a sudden you just couldn't practice in the afternoon, you had to practice in the morning also. So next thing you know, we're getting up in the morning, but we thought it was kind of fun. We'd have our breakfast. Nowadays, nobody thinks morning workouts are fun. But we were the first ones at Oswego High. We'd be the first ones in the dark, 6 o'clock in the morning, walking in the building, doing whatever we wanted. It was kind of fun. Let's see what else. Oh, frozen hair. Of course, every time we walked out after swim practice, we didn't dry our hair, and it would be frozen. You could break it right off in the winter. The green hair, we had pools that we swam in that the chlorine turned our hair green. And you can imagine my hair and Dottie's hair was always green. Okay, a couple things that John T. Farrell did that were kind of cutting edge. He would have us, I don't even know why, but he'd have us do starts from the tee. We didn't get to push off the wall. I don't know why. He made us start from the tee, so we were always pushing off the bottom, and I guess it was to make us have to start from zero, I guess. He had us reverse swim. Anybody swimmers here? And you ever try to swim and circle, everybody circles this direction? He made us go opposite. And it is so hard to do a flip turn and push off and go the wrong direction, but we were always crashing into each other. But he always had us circling opposite. He made us do flip turns for long course. He'd make us flip and we didn't get to push off the wall, so you flip and you're dead stop in the water trying to get going again. Kickboard, oh my gosh, kickboard starts. Kickboard starts. This is where he probably should have been fired. Okay, we had flat starting. We didn't even have it. This was not it. It was flat start, and he said go, and you're just reflex trying to go. He was swinging the board as hard as he could at your butt. and he would hit the boys a lot harder than us, but my mom came down and said, you don't hit my girlie. But anyways, we didn't have starting blocks with a slant, so it was all reflexes. And I am a distance swimmer more so than a sprinter, so I didn't get off very fast. Chase game. For whatever reason, I remember Gino Germano. He always was in trouble. He got on the blocks, had to swim, and we had to chase him and drown him, dunk him. Like, oh no. But and then the last one was another one is the divers. To get the divers to do the flips off the board, he would make all of us, all the swimmers, get up on the board one at a time, and we all had to try the double flip to show the diver that you can do this. And they're like, oh my gosh. But he would step on the board and push it and make us flip around in the air, so that's kind of funny. Let me see what, sorry.
That's what we live through.
Yeah, we wanted to do that because we got out of practice, we could do the double flip. Last thing would be, the only thing I remember that was maybe negative about being on the boys swim team was just that one school, only one high school, Hartford I think it was, wouldn't let me change in the locker room. They said I had to change in a restroom, and if I got on the blocks, they wouldn't enter any swimmers at all. And we're like, okay, we win. That's okay. Don't come on the board. But for the most part, my whole experience on the boys team was very positive. I really don't know. My mom's the one that said, you gotta go do this. It's harder, more challenging. So I guess that's how I got on, ended up on the boys swim team, which definitely helped me, I guess. So I appreciated it, but it was a good experience. The last thing I would say is just really what I learned from high school was to work hard. I mean, absolutely hard work definitely pays off. We supported everybody. We had new kids come on the team, support everybody all the time. Keep working to improve. I've always tried to always get better. Be honest, especially with yourself. You can't, you can say, yeah, I got a 72 par out there, but if you really got an 82, that's only faking yourself out. But having fun was really what it was all about. And that's what my parents taught me, that's what my friends taught me, that's what our coaches taught us. And I'm pretty sure most of the athletes here would say the same thing. So I am so thankful for being invited into the Hall of Fame, and I appreciate it. I absolutely will be happy to support the Buccaneers going forward. I haven't been involved before, but I absolutely will be happy to do that. And congratulations again to all the other nominees. Thank you.
Just a reminder, a little housekeeping here. After every presentation with the presenter, with the inductee, please go down to the north end here and we'll get a picture with Mr. LaBeouf. Hockey team, you go to the bar. I'm not joking. Mike says, we'll send the hockey team to the bar, and he didn't even realize what he was saying. But he won't fight you on that one, don't worry. I'm in a unique role tonight. In all the years I've been doing this, I've never been asked to be a presenter. And this is a first for me, so I'll give you just a second. Back in 1976, I took a job as sports editor at the Pal Times. And in the fall of '77, I had my first opportunity to cover the Buccaneer football team. And the Levens and Edwards combination was something to behold. The connection between those two players was just evident from the very beginning. And it was only fitting that both of them are being inducted in the Hall of Fame tonight. Edsy wasn't the biggest receiver, but he went full bore after every ball. I remember 10 years ago, I introduced my uncle, who was in his mid-70s then, to Johnny, and said he played football back in the late 70s. He goes, hey, aren't you that guy that got hammered by that Liverpool guy when you caught that ball? He said it was the hardest hit I've ever seen in my whole life in any football game. And Edsy was polite, said, yep, I got hit. That's Edsy. Yep, mm-hmm. And he spent the next 10 minutes explaining to my uncle the hit, how he forgot everything afterwards, never remembered it, how he ended up in the hospital, and how he went back to play. And he took time with him, and I thought that was really neat because he had never even met the guy before. The thing about John is, he did care about other people and took time with them. He also, of course, he played baseball. It isn't, I thought, what can I say about John? I worked with a guy 20 years in the school district. And little did I realize he's the treasurer and signed all the paychecks. If I had known that, I would have written so much more about him back in the 70s. It really been a big story with headlines, but I didn't know that then. So I called Ted Curley, and you guys all know Ted. Ted's a taskmaster. He's a perfectionist. And to get Ted to say something nice about you, you have to earn it. Sort of like Mr. Sears, same way. You earn it, you earn respect, you don't get respect. So I wrote to Ted. Ted said, first and foremost, what sticks out about John's is loyalty. He is and has been a true Buccaneer. He was a high school athlete. He was all in, loyal in the direction of the team, and he was always upbeat. I never remember a day when John was not happy at being in the ballpark. He loved being there. I never remember him taking a play off, always enthusiastically part of the team, both in practice and the game. He grew up with some pretty good Oswego athletes, played on a baseball team that had pitching and hitting. His foot speed and instincts as an outfielder made our pitching staff that much better. In my mind's eye, I can still see him tracking down balls hitting the gap. With other outfielders, a double, maybe a triple. With John, an F8. You know where doubles go to die. John. Now, from the coach's perspective, he's the coach. He was receptive to suggestions. I don't know what happened to him. He brought that foot speed, which you can't coach at the ballpark. He would steal a base by beating out infield hits and take extra bases. He also brought a great laugh to help things relaxed. He still has that, by the way. And again, as I said earlier, everyone who knows Ted knows that you have to earn his respect. He continued to tell me, yeah, the best recollections of John have to do with the same things that you see in him as a friend. He's serious about the task at hand, reliable, responsible, willing to do what has been done, a man of few questions, particularly hardworking, someone whose word means something and someone you can rely on, willing to help in any way he can as possible. He's thankful and he always remembers where he came from. And that's really important to Ted. Again, I had the opportunity to work with Ed for 20 years. I'm honored that he asked me to be his presenter this evening. He and his wife Lisa are friends. I've enjoyed watching their daughter Rachel and son Michael grow up to be outstanding young people. A credit to their parents. I would like to ask the latest inductee in the Buccaneer Booster Hall of Fame, John Edwards, to step forward and be recognized.
Wow. I can top that, huh? The good news is I have a speech. Unfortunately, I don't have my glasses. So that's really good news because now you're not going to hear my boring speech. I'm just going to have to wing it. We're going to have some fun, okay? Let's start off with a little joke here. It starts off with like, man, I was going to say, how's that wind out there? My toupee is over on the third fairway somewhere. Holy cow, I'm telling you. Now, if you think about this, been out of high school for 40 years. The fact that anybody even remembers what had happened back then is amazing. I can't remember what happened last week. So, I gotta talk about my coaches. Mr. Dewey. Mr. Dewey's a Hall of Fame member. He basically was the ultimate game preparer if you ever could see one. He had us ready to play at all times. My assistant coaches were Doug Campbell and Tony DeRose. Doug Campbell flies into town. He's from the NFL. Supposedly it was an NFL training camp. So of course, you're a bunch of high school kids. You got an NFL player in your, coaching you in high school. Man, it was like Doug Campbell was God to us. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, we did anything you wanted. And Tony DeRose, if you didn't spit in your eye once or twice, trust me, you weren't living. Let me tell you. But yeah, it was good times. Players, man, Nancy can attest to this, dog. There's basically, we were just loaded with good athletes back then. Just loaded. I wouldn't have enough time this week to tell you stories about every one of those guys. They were just a bunch of great guys. Mr. Dewey, I call him Mr. Dewey. I call him Mr. Ted Gurley was my baseball coach. Mr. Pete Sears, Hall of Famer, another Hall of Famer. Mr. Tedson, Hall of Famer. You think about things you take away from high school, the life lessons kind of thing. I still call these coaches Mr., okay? Some of my coaches in the past have questioned me on it, but these are my varsity coaches, and they still, they know that respect. You have to have that respect for these guys. They spent a lot of time with us, they taught us, and they basically made us the people we are today. And a lot of life lessons learned. You learn the athletic stuff, but Basically, it's that stuff that's more important. That's the stuff you carry into your life. Ted's not here. Ted is just a dear friend of mine. We've become, it's almost like a father-son relationship. We've always had this special relationship. I wish he could be here. It's unfortunate he can't. But he did call me yesterday. We still talk all the time. So he kind of had to give me a little pep talk about the speech tonight. So after all the stress and everything like that, I forget my class. I can't read the stupid thing anyway, so you didn't want to hear that. It was boring. This is going to get better. I'm going to get some stories here real quick. They're quick stories, but trust me. Dougie Levens is here tonight. Another thing, I could stand up here all night and talk about Doug Levens. Doug Levens was, this is my opinion, okay, and probably about some other, Doug was the best quarterback in New York State in 1978. Okay, he won't tell you that, because Doug's very humble, okay? Doug was a person that never got just razzled. Basically, he was a team leader. He was the team leader you wanted all the time. Well, I'm going to break into some stories now, okay, if you don't mind. I got a little story about Doug, okay? Doug was a passing quarterback. Definitely not for passing. You heard Bill, I'm the running guy, okay? We're playing Liverpool. They come in here, number 5 team in the state. We beat them the year before. They just wanted to wipe the field with us, okay? We're playing, this game's a bad workout, so. Coach Dewey calls an option right, okay? I line up left. That's my job, is to go out, do an out pattern, and just clear out some defense. Doug, the ball snapped. I go out. Next thing I know, the crowd is going absolutely ballistic. I'm talking, the place is rocking. So I have my back turned, and I turn back around, and all I see is this. The ball, number 18, running with the ball, right? I stood there, and he goes 45 yards for a touchdown. Okay, that was only 45 yards Doug had rushing, okay? He had like 4,000 yards passing. He had 45, it was all in one play. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, and the kid from Liverpool must have thought I was nuts, was guarding me. I'm sitting there, everybody's going nuts, I'm sitting there like this going, right? I was stunned. Why was I stunned? I played football for Doug Levens for 5.5 years, and I never knew he could run. It was crazy, man. Mr. Dewey crazy. He's like, I didn't know he could run either. I'm like, oh. That was fun. That was fun. No, Dougie was the ultimate leader, no doubt. A lot of fun. We had, like I said, we had tons of great athletes. I would love to tell stories about all, but I can't. So, in fair justice, I got to tell a baseball story. Okay? Don't worry, I'm not going to be up here 20 minutes telling. This is just a couple of witnesses. Barry Collins was a pitcher on the baseball team. Barry Collins played 4 years of varsity. He was great. Okay? I think he might have lost 3-4 games in his career. So Barry was one of those guys that was one of those easygoing kind of flow through life kind of guys, right? He also liked to play pranks. So his favorite thing was he liked to carry a tube of Ben Gay with him, the odorless stuff. So we're early in the season, we're playing a game. It's cold out, it's still cold out, and all of a sudden, I'm in center field. He did it to me and Joey Nassky. He rubbed Ben Gay on the inside of our hat rooms. So there's me and Nassky all game doing one of these numbers. And Barry's up there looking. So about 3rd inning, Barry comes in and says to me, hey, Johnny. He goes, man, you look a little warm out there. Okay, so now we know who did it, right? Okay, so revenge is all. Revenge can be brutal, folks. Revenge can be brutal. So Barry was a pitcher, as I said. So I, in turn, about a week later, he was off his guard. He left his gym bag unattended sitting on the floor. So I reached in and grabbed his jock strap. You know where this is going, don't you? All you guys out there? Okay. I grabbed his jock strap and get a little, and throw it back in the bag. Well, let me tell you something right now. You know how much joy I had watching Barry Collins on the mound. Okay, I'm in center field doing this. Nobody sees me. He's on the pitch where he's going like this. Okay. And here's what he's doing. He comes out. Every time he got an out after a batter was done, he would look around. He was looking. You could see him go like this, looking around. I'm like, oh boy. So finally, for some reason, he looks at me and he goes like this. He points at me in center field. So I took my hat off and went, Back in. Yeah. And then I went, geez, Barry, yeah, a little warm out there. You look a little uncomfortable out there tonight, Hopped around like you're doing, some kind of dance, That's just kind of fun we had. We played hard. We won, all kinds of games. And the funny thing about baseball, I talk about baseball, is baseball, it doesn't seem to get recognized. Everybody's, other sports, but baseball, our team in 3 years was so successful that, it's weird that more players aren't in the Hall of Fame is what I'm trying to say. And like Bill said, people need this. Huh? Can you hear me? Sure.
We can hear you. We're working on it.
Well, let me hold it. It makes it feel better. Makes me feel like I'm doing.
I'm not gonna say it.
I'm going to tell you something real quick before I tell the story. I told Rhonda, you put me in a podium with a microphone, you're in big trouble. It's a Ted Turley story. Ted basically was a person that, there was no gray area with Ted. He was black and white, okay? So sophomore year, we went to baseball, and Ted pulls me in his office and says, I was a shortstop. He says, Edwards, you're going to play varsity this year, and you're going to play center field. I'm like, wow. I was bummed out. I was. And here's why. Because when you're a shortstop or an infielder, and the coach tells you got to go play in the outfield, you feel like you just got shipped to Siberia. It's crazy, man. It's a weird feeling. I'm like, I didn't think you liked me. I didn't think you liked me. So we get outside finally, and after catching ground balls for about 15 years, I'm out there trying to catch fly balls. Oh my God, it was a circus. I looked like it was crazy. I'm out there like this for 2 days. I couldn't have caught a ball with a fish net, okay? It was crazy. So I go into Ted and I'm like, Ted, after a couple days, this isn't working. He's like, Ted was Mr. Perseverant. If it was his idea, he was going to follow it through, okay? So, eventually that worked out. A couple concussions later, I was good with it, but, anyway, I just want to say, thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee, Buccaneer Boosters, for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I am so honored to be here, okay? I'm not on the wine train here, but I pretty much was a guy, I never got any individual. This is the only individual award I've ever got. And fortunately, we can hear you. Fortunately, it's the biggest one I could have gotten. I'm so honored, you don't understand. I can't lose my train of thought. And I want to thank my family members that are here tonight. My sister Kathy, my wife Lisa, my son Michael, and my brother Anthony Joseph. Dean, do I tell the story? Do I tell them one more story? Yeah. You guys care? Yeah. Okay. No, I'm just in the course of this trip down memory lane here with the Hall of Fame thing, I decided to dig my yearbook out. And it's funny because, I got the thing out, I opened it up, and I'm like, oh my God, all it is hair. There's just nothing but hair in there. And the funny thing was, it was the guys. The guys all had this wig thing, right? You look at our yearbook, and all the girls are sitting there laughing, looking at the guy. I don't know, they're laughing at their hair, It's like the night bush. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Like I said, I can't, there's probably something on my speech, if I'm forgetting, the other inductees tonight, I want to congratulate them, I'm sorry. I can't read my speech.
Go ahead, Johnny, we can hear you.
I'm done, I'm finished now. I have to, I can't leave here tonight without mentioning the support I had from my parents. My mom and dad went to pretty much every game that I ever played, okay? My dad and I talked all the time. You're going to get the importance of my father real quick, okay? So, my father is the one that reminded me constantly to be humble. He said, he would always remind me, just in subtle little ways. And I carried that with me for my whole life, seriously. As I left to go to my football games on Saturday mornings, my father always said to me, go get him, Junior. And all I want to say is, Dad, it looks like we got him.
Just give us about 2 minutes, we're going to a new microphone, we're going to photo taken.
Right there, Mike.
Coming up to our third inductee tonight in our class of 2018. Again, now, to go back to John for a minute though, John was scared stiff. I'm not going to be able to talk for another 30 seconds. Did a good job though. Thank you. I promise I won't bang it down the floor. You know, when you're a guy like me who works in radio and with equipment, and I see somebody do that, you're just like, one of those moments, but either way. Moving along tonight, class of 79. Again, as I said, exposed to him, watching him play football in my first year as a sports writer. Just a thrill to watch. Got called up in the sophomore year when the starting quarterback, Bob Witt, maybe? What his name? Yeah, I think he got hurt 2 games to go. Bolton was still on the schedule, arch rival. Brought him up as a sophomore and gets himself a starting spot for the rest of his career. So again, leader in football, basketball, baseball, in football, and all upstate first team, all-state 14 quarterback in 78. Top punter, you don't hear that much from a quarterback. OHSO baseball championship team in 79, an outstanding senior athlete in 79. And we'll be Doug Levitz. I'm going to turn the microphone over to his presenter, Tom DeCastro.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees. And looking around and seeing old teammates together and what have you, I've had the pleasure tonight of sitting at a table with 2 of my running backs from our football team in 1955. One of which, and I do have to say this, we share the same birthday, month and day. He's a year older, and I'll never let him forget it.
You'll never grow up either.
I don't want to grow up. Following John Edwards with Doug Levins, it couldn't be any better. In my mind, Mr. Fling and Mr. Kling, because they were that kind of a duo. I've known them for a long time. They started school with my daughter down to Layton, and as years went by, I got to know them better and better. You know, 2 football players, my daughter was a cheerleader. The 2 jamokes that I was talking about were football players, and Bobby's wife was a cheerleader. Now to get serious. Doug is a great guy. An athlete, a husband, a father, and an educator. And he's even done some coaching. He'll probably tell you about that. He played baseball, basketball, but his true love and where he shined was in football. And he kind of grew up from throwing heat in Little League to setting passing records. Blessed to have played with the likes of, John mentioned some, John Edwards, Jim German, Dave Manicha, Bob Holford, Mike Hogan, just to name a few. They were on his football team. The class of 79 was loaded with athletes. As Bill said, in his sophomore year, he was brought up to the varsity, and he led Oswego to a 2013 upset win over rival Fulton. For us old-timers, that's a big deal. His junior year, he ranked second in the league with 914 yards passing, was named honorable mention. Some of his highlights included leading Oswego to a 28-20 comeback win over Janesville DeWitt, trailing arch rival Fulton 20-13 in the fourth quarter. Doug threw touchdown passes to John Edwards and Brad Bauer for the win. That was the kind of person he was, kind of athlete he was. He finished the game 14 of 23 for 229 yards, earning him the post-standard player of the week. His senior year was the big year. He led the Bucks to a 7-2 record, second to Liverpool, earned first team All-League, passed for 1,447 yards, completing 49.1% of his passes. He threw for 17 TDs, 5 of which were thrown, setting a new school record in a 38-13 win, once again, over arch rival Fulton. For his career, Doug passed for 2,643 yards, resulting in 25 touchdowns. He was the league's leading punter to boot. He was named to the All-Upstate first team and the All-State fourth team. And as Enzi said, in the big win over Liverpool, Doug had a 45-yard run on an option play for the winning TD. It's my pleasure to present to you Doug Levens.
I think it would be appropriate, I don't know who runs the facility, but I think if we can get a blood pressure cuff and pipe in some Prozac mist through the ventilation system for John, he would feel a little bit better. As you can tell, John was very comfortable up here, and he didn't believe in himself, but quite honestly, he did a nice job. He did a very good job. I was also asked to be the Republican rebuttal to this running for 45 yards in Liverpool and not being known to run because I ran at the speed of smell, and so not very quick, quite honestly. So thanks, John, for noting that. So let me first thank, of course, the Nominator and Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me to the Hall of Fame. In addition, I know that there are multiple people responsible for this particular event, and would like to thank the Oswego Board of Education, the Booster Club, Superintendent Guai, the athletic director and coaches, and of course the community at large for putting on events of this type to recognize those who've distinguished themselves, at least in athletics and Oswego. I certainly appreciate the kind words, by Tom, and who I'll, by the way, reference a little bit later in my remarks. I'm also happy to see his daughter Kathy Zaran, who's quite honestly one of my inner circle friends while I was in high school. So thanks, Kath, for joining us tonight. I appreciate that. I'm also grateful to have a strong family, but my support of family. But my wife, who teaches English, is off in Washington, D.C. with her English 10th graders, 50 of them, so I'm not sure who has it worse, her or myself, but I think she does if you've ever taken trips of that kind. So unfortunately, your schedule was scheduled before this, and so there you go. I also have one of my 5 sisters here with me tonight, Donna Rose, so thanks, Donna, for joining us. And yes, as you might expect, if you've lived with 5 sisters, you do have to know that I didn't realize where the restroom was in the house until I was about 12. And so And I think it was just pure luck that I understood that closed door and what it meant. So in any event, a couple of quick editorial notes. First, as I talked with many of you this evening, I did take a bit of a straw poll of participants tonight, and you have to know, especially the committee, you have to know that 56% of those responded to my questions actually questioned the judgment of the Hall of Fame for inducting me tonight, so you need to know that. Okay, so, and the nominator, like whoever that is. You do have to know though, when I publish the results, I'm going to ignore the 56 and go with the 44. So thanks for that. Second, about 2 weeks ago, my wife said to me, why are you doing that? And I said, why am I doing what? And she says, you've been walking around sucking in your gut for the last week. And so I said, well, I'm preparing for the Hall of Fame. And so, in all of the kind words that a wife would give, she indicated that she suspected that most people would understand that you're not 18 anymore, and that besides, we already have passed out from a lack of oxygen. And so, by the way, John mentioned that we were in the gig, what, 40 years ago? John must be 1 year older than me, though we graduated at the same time, so it was really 39. Right. The other thing is, you see the paper I have here, right? So I contacted John maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago and said, you know, you're from Oswego, you're in the city school system, you must have gone to these things before, so you must know like what the flow is and how this all works. And by the way, what kind of things should you talk about and what's the length of time? His comment, which we didn't stick to, obviously, in this case was, I'm going to thank everybody and then just sit down. Well, wow. So John, I came into the place and John said, well, geez, did you work out what you're going to say? And so I showed him this paper, which I don't intend to go through quite the way you might think. And he went right into arrhythmia. You think he was, you know, popping off here. He was like, wow. So he said, well, for God's sake, it's supposed to be thank you and sit down. And I said, well, I have the right to be silent, I just don't have the ability to be silent. So, at the same time, I also indicated that the point type that I had to use because of my age was 36 point type, which made it long. So there you go. Okay, so enough of that. After I was made aware of the induction, Coach Curley called me back in November, congratulating me on my induction. And I wrote a text to him afterward that was based on the phone call I had with him. And so here's what I wrote to him. Coach, I am thankful that you made the effort to contact me. It did my heart good to talk with you, if only in brief. I'm not sure that you know the impact you had on my life and how much I looked up to you while you coached. No, I mean while you mentored me while I was at Oswego. And I've taken a fair amount of what you've taught, which embodied many, many more things than just the skills associated with athletics. And I've been the richer for it. Please know that I appreciate all that you did and know that I remember fondly our time together with gratitude, respect, and admiration. Now, I start with that because quite honestly, and John kind of went there a little bit, nobody that stands in a forum like this that's done anything is without a bunch of supporting cast members to make it work. And there's absolutely no question about that. And quite honestly, the older that you get, and I'm 57 now, the older you get, the more you appreciate not the skills associated with the work that we did in athletics, but the impact that coaches and people around you had at your time. Now, Superintendent Guai, I know I just said 57, which is probably a FERPA violation, but I'm okay.
Make sure with the thing.
That's cold. In any event, there was no doubt that I'm very pleased to hear that I was being inducted, I was honored to hear that I was nominated and immediately began to run through the many images that I recall from my high school days and the progression of my athletic career while I was there. Know that the news prompted me to finally recall teams I was on, players that were on my teams that I participated with, but after some time, quite honestly, my thoughts really turned more to the people of the past and not the wins and the stats that Tom spoke about on my behalf. Those very special people are known as coaches, meaning all of the adults around me that took the time to coach the teams, who took an active role in developing students through the lens of athletics. I recall that my success back then was very much predicated on their impactful influence on the teaching of skills necessary to perform well. In retrospect, however, I will tell you that I have to say that while the coaching and the teaching of skills was important at the time, more importantly, and it was sometimes patient and sometimes patient the way it came to me, took place around the development of attitudes in my character. Because quite honestly, when all is said and done, we had a great time when we did high school athletics, but the work that was done by the coaches who coach kids on a daily basis actually positions them to do very well or not in their future as they go forward. And so my mind did not go to wins and losses and touchdown passes and all that kind of stuff. It really went to those that surrounded the work that we did at the time and the actual impact that those coaches had. And so I recall that each coach emphasized particular concepts like perseverance, tenacity, will to improve, understanding, seeing the big picture, goal attainment, and so on. And of course, you know that they didn't utter any of those words. You know, they didn't sit you down and say, okay, we're talking about goal attainment now. And that was not how they approached it. But when, again, at my age, at 24, I may have said a lot of different things here. But at 57, you can think through the things that really mattered when all was said and done. What mattered was the instilling of some of the things that I just mentioned to you by the coaches that coach. I coached when I was a teacher in South Colony, and I think when I calculated the pay, it was about 39 cents a day. And so they don't do it for the purposes of money. They do it because they love their sport and they love the kids that they teach. And so we are the recipients of that particular feeling. I'm quite pleased that I received the call about my induction and the kind of references that were made about me, but I'm even more thankful as I remember the people that were actually here. So let's get to a couple. First of all, Coach Dewey. Coach Dewey. Coach Dewey, for anybody who knows him back in my day, knows that he was Mr. Subtle and Calm. Okay, his approach was Mr. Subtle and Calm. So you all know that, in fact, even the program, it says G. Dewey. Now, as an elementary school kid, my first meeting with Coach in Layton School was when I glibly said, "Good morning, G." The meeting was brief, but it was impactful and got me well on my way to understanding that respect for other people, again, not football skills, but respect for other people matter. And so, but subtle and calm. When I was a sophomore and I was brought up to the varsity that year, our first game was in Central Square. And so it was an away game. And so we had done some practicing and all that kind of stuff that you would typically do. We got almost all the way there, and I went to Coach Dewey and I said, the good news is I'm ready, Coach. The bad news is I have everything except my cleats. So now remember, calm and something. That's how I remember it. But anyways, so I think somebody brought an extra pair of cleats. They were from an offensive lineman, so they were 3 sizes too big. Of course, it didn't matter because I never ran. So I have no idea what the outcome what that particular game was, but certainly the large shoes help me remember. I also played basketball, not exactly my best sport because I couldn't shoot, I couldn't dribble, nothing like John Galinsky or Joe Noski. And again, I couldn't run, as I've already mentioned, but I can hustle. So I was really put on the team for the purposes of defense and not shooting. Remember jump shots and set shots? Remember set shots? Right? Which draws back somewhere to the era of the Eisenhower administration. That's me. I did set shots. I didn't do jump shots, so coach didn't really want me to have the ball. So that's fine. So I played defense, and I couldn't do that. The thing I learned, though, from Coach Barton in that case was that you play with who you have and utilize whatever skill they have at the time and try to not make them something they're not. We gave the ball to John Galinsky. He did the scoring. I played defense because it didn't require any real skill except for tenacity and hustle. And so that's what I was asked to do. And so what I learned was that's exactly what happens when I'm going forward in my life. The people around me, you use the skills they have to your advantage to try to move something forward. And so that's what I learned there. Now, Mike Klein. Everybody know Mike Klein? Anybody? Mike Klein? Right? Okay, Mike Klein. Mild manner Clark Kent. Right? He's the guy with this big S on the shirt that's behind all of his garb because he never wanted anybody to know. The fact of the matter is Mike Klein was one of those guys that did everything. He taught all the lower levels, was not interested in the highlights of being a varsity coach that I was aware of, but he did spend time building skills, shaping attitudes, teaching team play. He was always a teacher. He had this quiet strength about him. He never yelled. He didn't need to yell. He just looked over his glasses. And so what's interesting is when you look at the different coaching styles, they all had their strengths, but they didn't all deliver the same stuff. But Coach Klein, and by the way, I know now how to do this by going to the website, but I'd like to nominate him because Coach Klein is one of those behind-the-scenes people that really deserve a lot of credit for the things going on, but just have not been highlighted the same way because of that. Talk about service. That's just a good service, which is the kind of stuff I learned from him. Very humble, spoke very plainly, extremely credible. Do you want to be a person like that? That's exactly what these people did along the way. Coach Curley, I had the same affinity to Coach Curley that John did, except for when he put me in the game, which didn't happen very often, and he put me in the wrong spot, and I hit a triple when he put me in, but it got negated because he put me in the wrong spot. So that triple went away. and in my conversation that I referenced, I thanked him for that, for killing my batting average. So that was great. Before the Liverpool game, my father knew enough about me to know that Coach Curley was somebody that I drew naturally to. So he called Coach Curley unbeknownst to me and said, when you're done with the morning stuff that you're doing with the team, because he spoke to the team that day, pull them into friendlies and have a fribble or something, and pull them off the ceiling, which is exactly what he did. And he did so. So that means I was very happy with my father because he recognized that, but also Coach did those kind of things. The biggest contribution by Coach Curley, though, was he was an intellect in the game, meaning that he was the person that wanted to teach the big picture, not just what we're doing now. He taught skills, but that was not where his head was. His head was how to get into the heads of his players to try to figure out what would motivate them and make them work. Now, as a school employee over the career of 33 years and an administrator for 27 of them, learning how to get people in people's heads and motivate them is an absolute must. And so I didn't learn that going to college. I learned that from people like him. And so when we talk about the impact of coaches on our lives going forward, that would be a great example of that. My last person I'm going to mention to you tonight is not an official coach. He didn't make that 39 cents a day, and that's Tom DeCastro. And of course his family. Tom was not a high school coach like others, as I mentioned. He was much more. He, along with Ginger, his wife at the time, and Kathy, my good friend, essentially were my second family for all practical purposes. I spent a lot of time with them, and it would take longer than I have to express the impact that they have had on me over the time until now. The life lessons that came from them were based on their belief in family, their strong ethical standards, their strong sense of right and wrong, with a constant care and concern. Their impact was immeasurable, and I need, Tom, you to know that. Quite frankly, you guided me as my second father and was always in the moment with me. You weren't looking to be distracted, you weren't looking for somebody more prominent. You always encouraged me and became another role model for me. So thank you. So to all my coaches, I went and end with how I started. I'm thankful that you made the effort to be here tonight. While our time here was short, it has done my heart good to talk with all of you, if only in brief. I'm not sure that you know that you had an impact on my life the way you did, and I've taken a fair amount of what you've taught me and embodied many of the things that you taught me on the skills that go along with that. So once again, I thank the Booster Club and the nominating committee and that 56% person that actually did the nomination. And so I appreciate that, and I'm very honored and humbled by being here tonight. Thank you very much.
Oh, Tony.
Everybody watching your heads go before your eyes tonight. These early inductees are from when I first started being a sports player. And our next inductee started toward the end. When I worked in the school district and did publicity for the last 20 years. Actually, while I was outstanding basketball player in Oswego, all sorts of records. First player to reach 1,000 points here. But when I was recalled on Ashley, it was watching her play the game. Her love for the game, and even if she was hurt, she gave it all she had. And another thing to remember, and I know a lot of the hockey players, I've known many of you guys over the years, you still talk to me when you see me, and I wrote stories about you, talk about you on the radio. Ashley always say, "Hi, Mr. Foley, how you doing?" And it meant a lot to me, because you do a lot for people, and you write a lot about people you cover them. But knowing that it was just, is important. Ashley left not only Central New York, she played professional ball in Estonia. So she pulled up her roots, carried the Oswego high name overseas. Maybe the place that she played in Russia, but she played in Estonia. She's with us tonight, and she told me she just had twins 10 months ago. So she's here tonight. Yeah, she should be applauded for twins, you're right. I have 7 grandchildren, it's hard to like twins either way. But joining her tonight, her presenter, is a guy who I busted on all the time. But to me, one of the most capable women's basketball coaches that Oswego School District has ever had. Nice guy, great coach, and extremely caring and giving. I'd like to introduce Mike Caldwell to present.
Mike told me I only got 3 minutes. Follow anybody here tonight. Somebody, the speeches are awesome. For those who really don't know me, my name is Mike Caldwell. I'm a former math teacher and coach at Oswego High School. It's a great honor to represent and introduce Ashley Wallace. I have the privilege of teaching Ashley in AP Calculus, coaching her in varsity basketball and varsity track and field. She excelled in both academics and athletics. She was the first girl, I just found out tonight, the first basketball player ever to score 1,000 points in a career. And Scanlon, I think, was the following year, am I right? So she was first. She was a catalyst in turning around a girls' basketball team program. They had losing season after losing season, approximately 25 years ago. Okay. As you know, the girls made a Oswego girls basketball team one of the elite teams in the top league in Section 3. I remember one game in my first year of coaching the girls. We were going to play Nottingham, which had about 6 to 8 Division I ball players. We had Ashley. I said that we could beat them, and the team laughed, and Ashley said, "Coach, they beat us by 65 points last year." In my wisdom, I said I had a plan. We beat them by 3, and the girls ran the court to celebrate. There was one other game. It was against Liverpool, which really was more of our arch rival. We had a hard time beating them. So finally, I came up with a defense. During the game, they called timeout, and Ashley said to me, "Coach, they have no clue what our defense was." At the end of the game, the coach and other coaches that were watching the game and scouting us said, "What kind of defense was that?" I wouldn't tell them. That was my secret. But now I can. 3 people on top played zone. The 2 people on the bottom played man-to-man. And the ones that played zone could not go back to help the ones underneath. And the reason behind that is Liverpool was phenomenal 3-point shooters. So what we did was prevent them from getting the 3-point shot. They would throw the ball in to the girl underneath, and she was supposed to, when the guard would back down, pass it back out for a 3-point shot. They passed in, she went to pass it back out, there was nobody to pass to, because the defense stopped it. Ashley continued her basketball career at Pace University, where she started and played for 4 years. After her college career, she continued playing basketball in Europe. Today, Ashley lives with her family in Estonia and teaches math. Not going to have anything to do with this. In order to continue to teach math in Estonia, she had to be certified by the U.S. And that meant she had to take the new FTPA, which is like a lawyer's bar exam, as well as numerous required tests. I took her to BOCES and got the information needed to complete this task. Despite teaching and raising a family, Ashley completed this task in a few weeks and became a certified U.S. math teacher. Over the years, since high school graduation, Ashley and I have continued a friendship for 15 years. And to me, as a coach, to have a friendship that long is very special. Ashley, myself, her family, go to lunch every time she comes home. I've seen her family grow, and I've seen how great of a mother she is. She has also excelled as a teacher, which I knew she would, as she's a natural educator. Even though she has all these attributes, Ashley had one area that she was not good at and hated. Will Chamberlain and Shaq had the same problem. Anybody know what that problem is? Free throws. She would ask me to let others take the foul shots. I would say, "Sorry, Ashley, I can't." But overall, she's a great person and role model. I proudly present to you Ashley Wallace, who has traveled all the way from Estonia to receive this honor.
Hi, everyone. I'll be honest, I prepared something here, and after listening to everybody else go, I think I'm going to rip it up and throw it out. So let's see what happens. Who would have thought that, after everything you heard, I was an uncoordinated, heavyset 4th grader. And who would think that that kind of student child would be up here today being honored in the Hall of Fame. And it really is an honor to be here. But yeah, that was me, that uncoordinated kid. And one of my earliest memories, actually, probably I was 5th grade. I don't know if you guys can remember. I was at practice, and all the kids started talking about how you could get a scholarship and go to university for free. And I was like, I remember coming out of practice so excited, and I said, Dad, did you know that you could go to university for free? He's like, yeah. And I said, I'm going to do that. And he kind of looks at me like, okay. And I said, no, really, I'm going to go. He says, you know, you do that, I'll buy you a car. I said, okay. And I got my car on my 18th birthday when I graduated from high school. It all started in 4th grade. And I played for so long as I did because I fell in love with the game that young. Thanks to Francis Lalapansi for starting the league, I was able to start playing in 4th grade. Again, I wasn't very good. I wasn't an all-star, but I loved the game. And I remember 5th grade, I got cut from the travel team, but they said that I could come practice. You know, we need players. You can come practice. And I think I took it pretty well. But I was just, yeah. So I went out and I told my dad, I didn't make the team, but they said I can come practice. And he says to me, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. I said, I want to play. I don't care. They're saying I can go practice. I'm going to get better. I'm not as good as these other guys, but I didn't make the team. So I want to go. I want to play. I want to practice. And he said, okay, it's your decision. And so yeah, it all started in the Leprechaun League, and I'm so thankful for Mr. Ponzi for extending it to the girls. That was the first year. My 4th grade year was the first year he started that, and when I saw the flyer for that, I got super excited, and I stuffed it in my bag. I was going to run home and tell my parents that I can go start playing basketball. And yeah, I got buried under all the homework, and so I pulled it out a week after the sign-ups. And I don't know if I cried. I think I wanted to. But we called up Mr. Ponzi, right? And he said, there's still spots. You can call us. Oh, thank you. So, but yeah, I was lucky enough to be among the first girls to play, and I gained so much experience from that. And from there, I went on to travel teams in AAU, and I just had a great time. Lots of memories. I'll try to keep it brief, But, so, after that, I went to middle school, and in 8th grade, I was asked by Linda Schultz to move up to the JV team with Mario Dator and Meg Neri. So the 3 of us played on JV as 8th graders. It was a great year and a horrible year. That was the year that she passed away. And it had an impact on us. She was also a wonderful woman who, was in it for the kids. She helped me build my confidence. She tried to help me with the foul shot. She was pretty convinced that I was gonna get better at it, and I'm a little bit better, but not much. But she tried. She made a big impact on me, and. After working with her for just a very short time, I was ready to move up to the varsity team. So I played 4 years on the varsity team. We started out, my 9th grade year wasn't so great, but after that we had 3 really successful years. Again, so many memories. They all sort of blur together, But yeah, so from there I did get that scholarship to go to Pace University. I had 4 years there, and 3 out of 4 we went to the D2 NCAA tournament. And after that, as people have said, I was fortunate to play in Europe. I decided that I wasn't done. And D2 is a small D2. You can't get in the WNBA. I mean, that's, 11 teams, 10 girls, there's only about 100 and something people that get to go there. And they don't leave every year 110 new girls. There's only a few that get picked up. So, but I wasn't done. So I was fortunate enough to run into somebody who had an agent in Germany, and I got to go over there. So I played in Estonia and Italy for a few months before I got hurt, and then a full year in Germany as well. And it was an amazing experience, really. And I mean, obviously I love it so much I have to come back. But really it all started here in Oswego with all the experiences and all the role models I had along the way. I have a long list of people who have impacted my life. You know, helping me improve my basketball skills and everything else. I was fortunate enough to work with Michelle. I remember before practice, we would go and just hang out in the training room. And if you guys know the training room at the high school, it's kind of tiny. But we were all just hanging out in there, talking about, you know, everything and nothing. And it was a great time. So I've had so many mentors and role models and people that have, you know, helped me grow. What else do we got here? I want to say a couple special thank yous. I don't want to list everybody because I think we probably want to go home tonight. But I want to thank Mike Caldwell for his support in the court and in the classroom. He's been a great mentor to me, and I really appreciate his friendship, as he said. He did. As soon as I was teaching over there for a few years, and when I switched jobs, they said, you need this certification. I said, okay. I said, I know who I'm going to call. And I called him up and said, what do I got to do? And he helped me through. He didn't mention that I got that Ed TPA over there without a whole lot of help while I was pregnant with twins. So I had to send in a video to this committee, you know, so they could see me teaching, and I, you know, got this ginormous stomach walking around, and I don't know, but they decided I could still have it. So I also want to thank my teammate, Marielle Dator. She couldn't be here tonight, but it really was with her skill as a point guard that allowed me to shine. You know, if she hadn't got me the ball, I probably wouldn't have been able to do what I did, because I certainly couldn't dribble. So, and if ever they were on me, she was able to, you know, make her moves and then get me open later. Like, it really was a lot thanks to her that I did so well in high school, and I was able to continue my career after high school. I'd also like to thank my family, who's all here today, my mom and dad, for carting me to and from trainings and games, and for supporting me and pushing me and teaching me. And I'd also like to thank my brothers, who are also both here, because I know they had to attend their fair share of my events, whether they wanted to or not. And so they had to put up with that, and they were great sports. I'm so glad they're here for me. And finally, I'd like to thank the Buck Boosters and the OHS athletic department for the event tonight, and for everything that they do for Oswego sports, because it is so important for kids to have the opportunity to play a sport. Some of the other inductees mentioned that the life experience that's gained by participating in a sport, it's a huge difference. The physical growth, the mental growth, the emotional growth, the experiences, the role models, it shapes kids nowadays. And it is just so amazing, the continued support that the Buck Boosters and the athletic department, everybody here, coaches, it affects so many lives, not just the kids, but the families as well. So thank you so much. And just congratulations to the other inductees, and thank you so much for this honor. I am truly humbled to be here.
If I could hand something to show young kids today, it would be the part of their love for the sport. I think that's so important. And of course, I'm not saying to anybody in the room that you all did what you did because you love what you played. That's why you all did it. And all camaraderie and friendships that not only are on the field or in the pool, but also present tonight, many years later. A couple of years ago, the Hall of Fame inducted a couple of Oswego hockey teams. And tonight, the 1990-91 team, the 91-92 teams will be deservingly recognized and inducted into the Hall of Fame. Pete Sears will be coming up in just a moment. I've known Pete, this thing's funny, I watched Pete play goalie after he came back from Vietnam, back with us with the state. I can't remember what year it was. I was probably 8th grade then. And I've known Pete for that long, and over the years, you know, first he was just a Laker playing, and he was my idol because, hey, in Oswego, the college hockey players are the idols, and that's how it works out for the kids here. And over the years, I got to know him as a reporter, just talking, and we sit around and talk all the time, and he's become a real good friend. Something that I bet you did not know about Pete Sears, he's a country music fan. And I'm trying to think who that museum we went to, was it George Street? No, George Street. Yeah, he's a big George Street fan. It's in Nashville a couple years ago. I think this is just a great story. I get a phone call, and somebody says to me, some woman, "Are you in Nashville?" I said, "Yeah." "What are you doing for lunch?" I'm saying, "Who's this woman calling me for lunch in Nashville?" And that's Kay Sears. Says, "We're here for the country western performances." I said, "Oh, that's great. We'll meet you downtown, and we'll go to lunch." So I'll go out to lunch. You'd think we'd get barbecue, but we get spaghetti warehouse. But yeah, that's okay. That's what you do. That's what you do in Nashville. But that's okay. So he says, "You go on?" I said, "We're going to the Ryman Theater this afternoon to watch a show." So Pete goes over, and Pete says, "I'd like to come go to the show, see the show this afternoon on Ryman." And he said, "You a veteran?" "Yes, I am." Gave him free tickets. Well, he had me. You know, I'm paying $60. He did it for free. But so we go to the bar. We're walking on. I'm in a bar with Pete Sears. I could not believe that. Now, many of you guys know him different than I do. I've never been in a bar with Pete Sears. And he's drinking beer, and he's listening to country music, and he's singing country music songs. And I've never seen that side of Pete before. And we said, somebody came over, so let's take a picture. He says, "Right, have the beer down." So, no beer. And here's a whistle. So, but again, Pete's just a great guy, and good to see him tonight. I'm glad that he's here. I thought it was funny. You guys will appreciate this because you went to those banquets. Rhonda Bullard, who doesn't know Pete, says, "Pete Sears won't talk too long, will he?" Got the answer, Rhonda? Okay. I don't care how long he talks. I'm sure you guys know. You guys are deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. The 1991 team, 91-92 team. Pete Sears, come on down.
Billy's telling some of my secrets now about being in Nashville and so on, so I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. But I really enjoyed listening to the athletes here tonight, the presenters, the Hall of Fame winners, and listening to their stories, how they reminisced about the past days of what it was like to be at Oswego High School and being with their teammates and going through some of the competitions that they've been in. I think it shows how important athletics really are to these people's lives. You have your academics in school, which are extremely important, but some of the lessons you learn through athletics stay with you the rest of your life. I talk to employers and they say, one of the things I like to do when I'm looking for a new hire is I'm looking for some athletes because I know they have discipline. I know they know how to set goals. I know how they bounce back if things aren't going well. So those lessons that you learn in athletics apply to you the rest of your life no matter what you're doing. And I think it's just great to listen to some of the stories that people have been talking about here tonight. I had a chance to walk around and talk to some of my hockey players that were able to show up here tonight. Some of them I haven't seen in quite a while. And it's interesting because when you get together, we have a little motto. And that motto is that we never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So a lot of the things that happen to us, they change over the years, and sometimes they get a little bigger and so on. But we have a great time with it. And again, that's another great thing about coming back to something like this and seeing people you haven't seen in a while, and just the memories that you have, just kind of makes you young again. It makes you want to get back there and maybe relive your life over again, even though we can't. Before I get started with my teams, I know we've already expressed our feelings about the passing of Michelle Wink, but I would just like to say something very briefly about that also. I'd like to express my sincere sadness for the passing away of Michelle. She's been here, she was with me my last few years of coaching, and I really got to know her quite well. She not only was our trainer for many, many years, but a tremendous fan and a supporter of Oswego High School athletics. And even more than that, she was a great friend to many of us coaches who got to know her over those years. She always had the safety and well-being of our athletes first and foremost on her mind, and she will forever be missed. And so, again, I just wanted to get my feelings out there. When I was listening to some of the people receive their awards, Nancy Natardi mentioned her father. I played for her father at the college. I played baseball for him. A tremendous man, and some of the most fun times of my life were with him. Johnny Edwards. I didn't know Johnny was a stand-up comedian, but that was a great job, Johnny. You know, you didn't need your notes tonight, like I do. I had a chance to work with Johnny and with Doug. I was actually an assistant with Ted Curley, the baseball team, for a few years, and they were playing baseball. Then I got to know Johnny and Doug at that time. And again, I see Johnny all the time now because he worked for the school district and so on. But again, it's so great to see you guys back. It brings back a lot of memories for me. Tonight, I would like to congratulate all of the past Oswego High School Athletic Hall of Fame inductees that are here. I see a lot of them around. I've had a chance to talk to them. I'd also like to congratulate this year's new inductees, Doug, Johnny, Ashley, Nancy, and both of my teams, the 1990-91 team and the 91-92 teams. To be selected as an individual or team means that your accomplishments will forever be recognized as a memorable part of the Oswego High School rich sports history. For me, it's a tremendous honor to be a member of the Oswego High School Hall of Fame, and even more of an honor to be here tonight to introduce those two teams, those two varsity hockey teams. In order for me to be here tonight to speak on behalf of these two teams, it means that I was very fortunate to have had numerous family members, teachers, coaches, teammates, athletic directors, school principals, athletic trainers, and friends who helped me along the way. And I know tonight's new inductees feel the same way from the stories that I've heard. As a varsity hockey coach at Oswego High School in the 80s and 90s, I was blessed to have some very outstanding athletes that were willing to buy into a crazy coach's philosophy and make a commitment to sacrifice and give their all to make Oswego High School hockey respected around the state. The two teams here tonight personify that commitment. What made these two teams so special and successful? I wrote down a list of many things, but I narrowed it down to these ingredients for their success. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, they were outstanding all-around athletes. And as a coach, your motivational speeches and your X's and O's can only get you so far. But having gifted athletes can go a long way to make a coach look good. And they certainly did that. In fact, I learned much more from them than they learned from me. Secondly, one of our motivational sayings in our locker room, on our locker room wall, stated that the will to win is important, but the will to prepare to win is even more important. And right beside it, another stated that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. With these two squads, I never had to question their work ethic or their willingness to do more than I asked when it came to preparation, both during the season and during the summers. Getting the players to come out of their comfort zones and get even more than they thought they could, not just sometimes, but all the time, was passed on from their Oswego minor hockey coaches to myself at Oswego High School.
They had a great group of coaches in minor hockey, such as Ed Grosick, Dan Ford, Doug Ackley, and many others, who instilled in them what hard work and dedication were all about. And I was the benefit of that in many cases. Third, these players love to compete. They had the will to win mentality, and they also had the hate to lose mentality. They enjoyed the challenge of trying to prove themselves every day in practice, in the weight room, during off-ice training in the summer, and in each and every game. Even when they weren't the most talented or skilled, they often came out on top because they were disciplined and they were the most competitive. And even in the games we did not win, I never once questioned their effort or their resiliency in bouncing back after a loss. Fourth, these teams consistently did the little things that make a big difference. These things did not require great talent or skill, but a mentality that if you wanted to reach the top, there were no shortcuts. Things like always being on time. And I used to say, if you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. Self-motivation. That means doing what you should do all of the time, not just sometimes, whether you want to do it or not. Their coachability, their positive attitude and body language, and taking pride in wearing the Oswego Buck jersey, representing your school and your community. I never wanted to see an Oswego Buck jersey on the locker room floor. If I ever did, I picked it up and I took it away, because I wanted them to respect that jersey and know what it meant, what it represented. On the ice, the little things, like blocking shots, winning one-on-one battles for the puck, discipline in our offensive and defensive zones, short shifts so we're always playing at full speed, and playing it as a team, not as individuals. Those are the things we always stressed. Fifth, these players made up a team in every sense of the word. The strength of the team was in each individual, and the strength of each individual member was the team. Our captains made my job easy by leading by example on and off the ice. And my co-coach, Jim McAllister, and Jim wanted to be here tonight, but he's just had an operation, so he couldn't be. Jim McAllister always set a great example, always stressing to never accept anything less than your best. I look at these athletes, teammates, and friends, and now I see where they are in their lives and how far they have come. As husbands, as fathers, as employees, as employers. And I would like to think that their academic, athletic, and hockey experiences here at Oswego High School helped to mold them into the men they are today. I will always treasure the times we had together, learning from each other, setting goals, and working to make those goals come true. As my co-coach Jim McAllister used to say, thanks for the memories. Now, our 1990-91 team had an overall record of 19-5-1. We won the league, finished second in Section 3, won a state qualifier and a state regional, and we went all the way into the state finals. We were finally defeated in the state finals by Albany Academy 3-1, and we finished ranked second in the state. Our 1991-92 team had an overall record of 19-4. We won the league, we won Section 3, we made it to the state regionals, and we finished ranked number 5 in the state. I would like to give the names of the guys who were on those teams. 13 of those guys were on both teams. I'd like to name them first of all. Goaltender Ed Carney, goalie Jeff DeSantis, defenseman Tom Master, defenseman Dave Doty, defenseman Brendan Lane, defenseman Jeff Pollard, forwards Larry Erskine, Jason Bauer, Dave Vashaw, Alex Kurilovich, Jim Cram, Dave Moore, Jason Guido. Those 13 were on both teams. Now the other players that were on the 90-91 team were goaltender Tim Spatafor, defenseman Clint Cole, defenseman Chad Holbert, forwards Adam Mahalski, Jason Ronaldo, Brian McAllister. The other players that were on the 1991-92 team were defenseman Neil Pecor, defenseman Anthony Ciampa, forwards Dan Dorsey, Mike Asenzi, and Brian Lester. So those are the names of the people who participated on those teams both of those years. Will the members of both of those teams please come on up? When I see these guys all together, it brings back so many great memories, and I get very emotional because I know how much they gave to the program. So at this time, I am so proud to introduce the 1991-92 team and the 1990-91 team, the Oswego High School hockey varsity teams, and congratulate for becoming the new members of the Oswego High School Hall of Fame.